So here we are in our permaculture orchard. It's a permaculture orchard in the setting of a tall grass prairie. And I'm going to pick a few of these apples today. This tree, as I've said in previous videos, was originally billed as a Sapis Spitzenberg. But these really just don't look like Sapis Spitzenberg apples. So I think the orchard got it wrong. I was wondering if maybe it was mixed up in the order and it was going to be our Ashmead's kernel, but these are really way too big for Ashmead's kernel. So unknown apple, but an interesting apple, russeting, some redness, sort of an orange-brown coloring. And I'm going to pick a couple today. Last year I waited too long and they just fell, so let's see if this is coming off. Oh, comes off very easily. So we'll have to taste this apple and see what it, just see how good it is. This next set of apples, I guess a handful of apples on this really young tree, were billed by the orchard as, or the nursery, as Ashmead's kernel, but I think this is Caville Blanc d'Hiver. I did order that in the same order, so I think they got them mixed up. It's green apple, it's got these nice, this nice ribbing, decent sized apple, some red blush, and I'm just gonna pull one of these off today. See how easy it comes off. Came off pretty easy. So there's the first, probably Caville Blanc d'Hiver. Little injury there to the apple. Here we are with our morning harvest. A little bit of kale there, some younger and older leaves. We'll use the younger leaves for a salad. We got some crookneck squash there. And then we have some apples. And I want to spend a little bit of time on the apples because, to be honest with you, these are the first apples coming out of my very young apple orchard. So this is very exciting for me. The earliest plantings that I made came from a nursery that has a reputation of getting things wrong. I learned that after the fact, unfortunately. And there's been a lot of complaints on the web about them. I think they did mistake this apple for sure. This was grown on a tree that they labeled Ashmead's kernel, but this is Caville Blanc. And I just wanted to look at it again off the tree with you. It's got that nice ribbing, which are the ridges that run the length of the apple from the stem down to the bottom. It's good size, it's green, and it has this pink blush. So this looks very much like Caville Blanc d'Hiver. So they got that wrong. And then on the Sapis Spitzenberg tree, we have instead this asymmetrical sloping apple with some redness, but nowhere near as much redness as the Sapis Spitzenberg, some russeting across the apple on a green background. And this is a decent sized apple here. Honestly don't know what apple it is. I'll have to look around a little bit, but if anybody knows what kind of apple it is, please share that information with me. It's got some bumpiness here, like maybe a little bit of I guess injury early on in the apple's life, but I guess that lumpiness could be characteristic of the apple. It's just that the rest of the apple is smooth, so probably not. So let me know if you guys know what apple this is. I'm going to let it sit for a few days and I'm going to taste them. But really exciting. My first crop of apples from my very young orchard. Exciting time here on the Prairie Orchard. And here we are about 4 days after we picked our apples, and we're going to go ahead and cut them up and taste them today. And then we'll taste them at intervals just to see which timeline is the best for flavor. So the green apple, which we're thinking is Caville Blanc d'Hiver, is has a very firm flesh, a tart flavor with some sweetness in the background,
Doesn't quite taste like the Caviar Blancs that I've tasted in the past, but maybe it's just too early. But this tastes almost like an American tart apple. Um, is this a Northern Spy, for example, as opposed to a Caviar Blanc? This one has much less tartness, has pure sweetness. That sweetness is on the mellow side right now. It's not like overwhelmingly sweet. The flesh is firm, and maybe that this needs to sit a little bit longer. 4 days just may not be enough. None of that pineapple flavor that one might associate with Ashmead's kernel. But again, maybe it needs more time. They're both totally edible, and I think we're going to finish these off with dinner.
So here we are, Saturday, October 11th, which is about 3 weeks after picking our apples, and I'm going to do another tasting. I'm hoping that allowing these apples to ripen a little bit more in my cooler is going to be a good thing. So let's cut these two open. And the taste of the Caviar Blanc is a mixture of sharpness and some sweetness, firm flesh, which is consistent with the fact that this is a cooking apple in France, but can also be eaten fresh. We're going to try it with a little bit of cheese, Gouda cheese, and then back to our unknown apple. I've already tasted this one today. It is a little bit sweeter than it was a couple weeks ago. Likewise for the Caviar Blanc d'Hiver. This doesn't have as much of a sharpness as the Caviar Blanc. Has a little bit more of a mellow sweetness. Probably could ripen even a little bit more. Really happy with the way these apples have turned out. I do have one more apple, a Caviar Blanc, that I'll probably eat in another week or so to see if there's a change, but I guess I'm just really excited to have had the opportunity to grow these few apples this year, taste them, be satisfied with the flavor, and I really look forward to the coming years where we have more apples.